Hello, and the biggest of welcomes to this woman's work, a space where you can hear and read about some amazing women, the fantastic jobs they do, and the paths that have led them to where they are today. I'm here today with Ruth. Hi, Ruth.
Hello.
Could you tell the listener what it is you do for a living?
Of course, yeah. I am an artist, and that kind of sums up what I do. It's a very broad kind of description of myself, but it's taken me a long time to describe myself as that, really.
Oh, interesting. How come?
Well, it's the whole imposter syndrome, isn't it?
Right.
And it can sound, I don't know, perhaps a little pretentious. I'm an artist.
Yeah.
And I am predominantly a printmaker.
Yeah.
And before, perhaps if you'd asked me that, a year ago, I would have said a printmaker.
Okay, interesting.
But I do more than that.
Yeah.
So I think artist is a
the right
better
term.
description.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow, okay, right. As always, we track back before we go too far forward. So, little Ruth, what were you like at school, college? What were you into? Obviously, art. We're all going to assume that.
Yes, I've always loved art. Little Ruth, party girl.
Brilliant,
Yes,
love it.
definitely. From a very, very early age, dressing up. Really actually into acting more than anything else.
Okay, so quite a thirst.
A bit of a thesp. It's quite sporty.
Okay.
Yeah, a
What
bit of
about
a...
sort of academic kind of...
Well, I think...
Are you going to be one of these ones that's just good at everything? In a good way, in a positive
no,
way.
absolutely terrible at maths. You'll be pleased to hear. Anything, definitely the creative side is me.
Yeah.
I was a bit of a goody though, I'd say, at school.
Yeah.
Didn't really like to get things wrong. Wasn't naughty.
Wow.
So, which, when I'm looking back, I kind of wish I'd kind of relaxed a little bit about everything.
Okay.
But both my parents were teachers.
Oh, well, there you go.
So I think I had it drummed into me. Head teacher, father, behave, very strict.
What did you go on to do? Say,
Yes,
college?
so I wanted to go to drama school. That was really, really what I wanted to do. And the first time I ever went to London on my own was to go for an audition. And I thought the audition went really, really well. And I remember them asking me right at the end, would you audition next year? And I said yes, being the goody, thinking that's what they'd want me to say. And it does plague me now, because I think actually if I should have just said no, because I didn't audition again. I'm not going to, I should have said no if you don't want me now.
Yeah.
Then you're not going to want me next time.
Did they explain why they would want you to do it next time?
No, I think I was quite young. I think I was too young.
They almost wanted you to be a little bit more experienced.
I think they wanted, yeah, exactly. I think
which is, I guess, is kind of a nice thing though, because it's like they obviously saw talent, but maybe just thought you're a little bit green behind the ears, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I was totally inexperienced. I didn't have any help with, the audition process at all.
Yeah.
I went totally on my own.
Yeah. And that is a big thing in itself.
I think I really took it to heart and felt really rejected at that stage, because it was really the only thing I wanted to do. So I rejected, because I'd rejected my university offers. I only had 2, and thought I'll go travelling. That's what I should do.
Yeah.
Go travelling, until my dad said, I'm not helping you out there.
Yeah.
Because, deep down he wanted, as an academic, wanted me to go to university.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. I got through to...
So did you then have to go through clearing?
I went through clearing.
Yeah, because
a very, kind of awkward conversation over the phone, selling myself to Newcastle.
Okay.
Or Newcastle.
Yeah, great place to go to uni.
So I heard it was a good party city.
Amazing.
And that's really how I picked it. I hadn't looked round.
Yeah.
I just said, yeah. And they did. I did a combined arts course.
Okay.
So actually, it was the best thing for me, because I still really didn't know what I wanted to do. Now I hadn't gone to drama school.
Yeah.
And I could do a bit of everything here, really.
Wow.
I didn't do drama, but I did. So I studied English literature, fine art, and history of art.
Oh wow!
For the first year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
And then I was asked if I wanted to go onto the fine art course, do that as my degree, and kind of my dad in my head, on my shoulder,
well,
was
he's
saying,
worried about what he can do for work, isn't he? He's just there going, where does this go?
I don't know why I didn't really feel strong enough to have the autonomy to say that's actually would be great.
Yeah.
But I didn't, and I basically stuck to history of art and English lit.
Right.
And that's what I did. That's what my degree's in. So.
Wow. And obviously, great, graduated.
Graduated.
Had a good time. We're just going to obviously assume you had a good time.
The best time. The best time. Yeah. Fantastic city. Met my friends for life there.
Okay, so we graduate.
Yes.
Then what do we do?
Well, I didn't want to be stuck. I didn't want to be lost after university. And I just knew I needed to get a job quick.
Yeah.
So I applied for a job. I saw the advert. This is before the days of LinkedIn. I circled an advert in the back of the Sunday Times.
Well, reputable title.
Absolutely. And it was at Vogue House.
Wow, okay.
In London.
Yeah.
And I thought, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Why not go for that? Applied, got an interview, thinking this is a really expensive train fare from Newcastle down to London. It better be worth it. And then I had a second interview, so I had to go back. And I remember I nearly didn't go back. I remember talking to my flatmates at the time, and they just kind of, as they always did, kind of, with a voice of reason, and said, "What? Don't be daft. This is the future. This is going to be your next job potentially."
And is this because you thought you weren't going to get it based on that sort of rejection element earlier?
Yeah, perhaps.
And then also it was going to cost you a lot of money.
And it's going to cost me some money.
Yeah.
I've been working on a Saturday at a clothes shop in town, just to earn some party money, I guess, and I was having to spend it all on a train fare. Anyway, I hadn't quite grown up yet, but I did go back and got the job.
Yay.
So that's what I did. That was my first job, and first proper job. I was selling advertising for a short period of time, which I didn't really enjoy. I enjoyed the lifestyle. I love London.
Yeah.
Met some wonderful, wonderful people, but it was because it was really, you had to be motivated by money.
Yeah.
You really, because it was on a commission basis.
Yeah.
It was quite hard. I had the thick skin by then to cope with it, with the sales side of things, but it wasn't really for me. So I moved within the company.
Okay.
And I began a job in production.
Fantastic.
So putting the magazine together.
Yeah.
So much more creative.
Yeah. And you've got that direct contact with the creative teams as well.
Absolutely. Working with the art director, the editor, the production house, the repro house. And also what was great about that job was seeing the pages of Vogue magazine 3 months before anyone would see them.
Yeah.
And unedited pictures of models, Kate Moss's bikini line, things like that. It was just, it was amazing. And that job was just so, I don't know, just you felt like you were on the edge of the new.
Yeah.
And I met some great people there. I commuted, which was an absolute killer. Yes, every day.
And I guess this is pre-kids though, isn't it?
It is.
Back when you actually had sort of energy.
Yeah. Yeah.
An optimism.
Yes. But it was getting up in the dark and coming home in the dark.
Yeah.
And, I remember ringing my boss to say, turn my computer on, in case the train was late.
Yeah.
And I needed to be there because I was answerable to the editors. So I went from commuting to cycling through the Deer Park to Burley House.
Yeah.
And that was my next job.
As what?
As operations manager.
For Burley?
For Burley House.
Wow.
Yes.
What a great job.
It was a great job.
Yeah.
It was great.
So what did that then cover then?
The main jobs were opening the house. I was in charge of all the seasonal staff.
Yeah.
Showing people around, specialist groups like Christie's, Sotheby's would come because the art collection is so incredible.
Whilst you've been doing all of this stuff, had you been doing any of your own art, or had you always been sort
nothing.
of... You'd literally just sort of were focusing on what you were doing at the time.
That's right, yes. I didn't have
and
time
not listening
to do
to maybe your inner
else.
voice.
No, I wore a shirt and dressed, differently, and I think I tried to mould myself to fit.
Yeah, what you were doing
within that position.
It's very female to do that.
I think it is, yes. And I'm quite good at that.
Yeah.
I think that perhaps the actor, the acting side, I can kind of mould and change myself to fit within a certain group or job. But yeah, so I think, naturally I wanted to get married and have children. Not to say naturally, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And the insatiable hours weren't going to work. So once I had my first child, I left.
Okay.
I left. I just became a mum for a bit.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
And that's a really important job, and it's a big thing. I mean, I've got a massive bee in my bonnet about like even women that underplay being a mum. Do you know what I mean? It's such a massive, it's a massive shift, isn't it?
Oh gosh, yes.
And I think women, it's a much bigger chat about whether or not we can have it all. So you had your two children,
2 boys,
yeah.
yes.
And then at what point then did you start thinking about making your own money then again?
Well, I thought about it readily all the time. Actually, I did form another business before dedicating myself to the art. I sold furniture.
Okay.
Because I was going to all these antique fairs anyway. Not very good for a podcast, but my house is full. You can see of like random furniture, and I thought, I there's some money to be made here.
Yeah.
And so I started a company called Relic Room.
Oh.
So my first child was at school by now, and my second was being driven around in my van.
Wow.
Picking up furniture from here, there, and everywhere. And like all those things, they're fads. I did it at the right time. Made some money out of the thing I knew I could make money out of, and then that went.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep finding the next big thing,
Yeah.
But yeah, so did that. So that was quite, for a couple of years I did that actually. But then I did a course locally at what was an interior shop in town. Sadly, it's no longer there. Called Snow.
Oh yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
It was great.
Yes.
It was fantastic.
Oh.
And they ran workshops in the evening, and I did a taxidermy course, and I also did
Amazing.
and I did a lino cutting course, and I just caught the bug.
Yeah.
And was hooked, and just.
Wow.
And that's where it all started.
The
taxidermy, no, the mouse was enough for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I could have done anything. I couldn't have scaled that either, because that was no.
No, love it though, brilliant.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So then, how did this idea manifest itself?
I don't know. I don't know. Can't really think how it just happened. It just, people just started asking me wanting to buy things that I was making.
So you just started to naturally make stuff.
Yes. Yeah.
People
and
were
all these
seeing
ideas that
it.
that I'd been carrying in my head for a long time.
Yeah.
I'd found a medium, a way of putting it out there, and also the good thing about printmaking is you can do multiples. It is scalable, because I can do a print run.
Yeah.
And it was just. So I did editions, and I did a few local scenes, and one thing led to another, and it just took off. Yeah, my tastes definitely have changed, and I think as you get older, you do, as an artist, I feel it's really more important now than ever to leave something, whatever I make, is being left. I won't be here forever, but that will be. So I do think about things like that, and I think, well, it's like when you read a book, and you read a paragraph that really resonates with you. It's like, gosh, someone's like really gone into my head and said what I've been thinking.
Yeah.
There's nothing better than that feeling that, they've got it as well.
Yeah.
So I try and, I don't always, and some things I make are really frivolous, but there are other works that do have meaning. I might not tell people what they are, but if they do resonate with people, then that's a success.
I know you have a little life in you yet. I know you have a lot of strength left. I know you have a little life in you yet. I know you have.
And do you find that your clientele are more female than male, do you think? Or do you know?
Yes, I think it is mainly women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which don't get me wrong. It's great.
Yeah. My focus, a lot of my work is from a female perspective.
Yeah.
You know, it's the female gaze, and it's, you know, because that's, it's coming from me. I can't, you know, I have done one man, which, you know, as a lino cut, you know, which, you know, it did sell to men.
Yeah.
It's just how it worked, but
It's still ultimately a female interpretation of it, though, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So we haven't really properly described here. So how would you describe your art form then? So what you do? So obviously you said you can obviously do multiple prints, but what's the raw product?
Yeah,
then?
so lino cut.
Yeah.
So it's carving into lino.
Because obviously I've just carried on chatting because I know what you do, but let's explain this to people.
Yeah, so it is, you know, taking tools, carving a piece of lino. You carve it onto, I use Japanese lino, in reverse, because it'll print in reverse, so that's something. The reason I really like it is that you have to focus from start to finish. You know, you can't be looking at your phone, you can't be multitasking.
Okay.
It's something you really have to, and it's very therapeutic.
Okay.
And when I've done workshops in the past, that's what people have said to me at the end. I found that really therapeutic, to just sit and really focus on one thing in this really busy world where we're all trying to do a million things at once.
Yeah.
And we are so used to our minds being, you know, entertained all the time. You know, I find that with my kids, like, they can't just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
They're watching a film, but then they've got a screen in their hand as well.
Yeah.
And, you know, it drives me mad. But that is, you know, I guess it's quite an archaic way of working, but I'm trying not to work in a traditional sense, though, because lino cut is, you know, a lot of lino prints have a traditional folky kind of feeling.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't really want to do that with my work. I want to try and create something more contemporary.
Yeah, I think you've totally done that.
Yeah, it's very graphic, my work, mainly black and white. But my kids keep saying I need to add more colour, so I'm taking their advice.
Interesting.
Yes, yeah. And colourful ones do sell. People like colour.
Yeah.
So, but I do really like black. But yeah, so that's predominantly what I do. But I paint as well, and my paintings are currently abstract, very, very abstract. I started painting again after trying to use up the ink from my printing. So not to waste the ink. So I'd roll the ink onto canvas.
Yeah.
And then they evolved naturally through that.
Wow.
And they've been, I've done quite a few painting commissions recently.
Yeah,
So that's
I've
really
noticed
nice.
that, yeah.
And it is very, lino printing is very laborious. It's very hard on the joints and
I was going to say the RSI of that.
Yeah, so it's a great break from that painting and a bit more freedom.
Wow.
So it's good to mix it up, really.
So, and that's really from just, again, you just doing some stuff and then people saying, oh, that's great, can you paint?
Yeah.
Could you do this? Could you do that? So you've not necessarily proactively gone out.
No.
People have just kind of said.
It's a need in me, really, to need, you know, I know it's a bit of a cliche, but it is, I really do need to paint.
Yeah.
I really need to make something. You know, if I haven't made something, I feel, I haven't got stuff out, you know. I think it'd be much easier if I could sing, because then you could just sing, express yourself by singing, which is, you know, instantaneously, you know, you're there, but
you could sing.
I can't sing.
I really can't sing.
I can't sing.
Oh, bless you. Wow, okay, so that's kind of where we are. So what's next then? I mean, are you trialling anything new? Obviously, you've just said you're doing colour. You're doing more colour.
Yes, I am going to have to. So I broke my wrist in January. So that has really I've been forced to once again
Are you
to
left
switch.
or right-handed?
I'm right-handed, so I broke this wrist.
Oh no.
And I don't think I'm going to get the full movement back.
Oh.
So lino cutting might prove to be harder.
Yeah.
So I think I am going to be forced to change my discipline slightly. So I've been doing monoprints, which are, they're simpler and it's a lot more, it's a freer way of printing because I can sketch.
Okay.
And actually, before the accident happened, I was thinking about doing that anyway.
Okay.
So I think there's fate playing its hand here.
Yeah.
And so my style will be changing again, perhaps.
Wow.
I don't know. I would like to still carry on with a bit of lino printing, but
Is there like a less lino way of doing lino?
Well, yes, there is.
Like other materials?
Yes, I can use softer lino. It could be, just a drawn line.
Fabric,
it doesn't have to be.
Anything like that.
It doesn't have to be quite so detailed, but it's using my press. It's not just about it's actually the process.
Yeah.
Everything about it is quite physical. That will change, and I want to change how I present my work. I've done a lot of markets in the past, and I think perhaps I'll do less of that. I think I'll do less work, but spend more time on, it'll be hopefully quality over quantity rather than the other way around. But I really want to hone in on kind of what I want to put out there.
So, what, I guess, in terms of characteristics, because I'd hope there are women out there that again have maybe felt like you felt, kind of fundamentally creative and artistic, but for whatever reason haven't quite explored it properly or fully. So for them to recognise that, I guess I don't even know how to word this question, because normally I word this question as what sort of skills or characteristics do you have that make you good at this? But in many ways, I almost want to know what made you, was it like an inner voice the whole time telling you were creative and arty and you were maybe just ignoring it? Or I guess at what point did that get louder? Because it would have been, you could have easily gone and got another job, couldn't you? You could have left early, gone and got another job.
I think it was when I had kids, I thought, well, if I don't do it now,
So you always knew then?
Yeah, I know. It was kind of, I knew I had to do something creative.
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm not going to. And also, I'd had quite a few jobs. I'd worked for a lot of people, and I was in a position where I could just work for myself.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I'm going to try this.
Do this.
And if I don't try it, and also I don't. It's taken me a long time to get to this place, but I care far less now about other people's opinions of things. I think as an artist, you do get that imposter syndrome. You worry it's not good enough, and I'm sure I've made quite a lot of crap, but I put it out there anyway. I think it was Andy Warhol who said, let other people worry about that. Just make it. Just do it, get it out, and see how you feel about it yourself, and then go on to the next thing. I think if someone's feeling like they're not fulfilling their creative self, or there's something lacking, just do it. Yeah. Whatever it is.
Well, I guess that, like you say, it can be easier for some than others, because if you do need a
Or like me, go to a workshop, go and learn
Yeah.
something. There's nothing better than going and teaching yourself something new.
Yeah.
Because you never know where that might lead, and that's what I did. I'd lost all confidence in myself, and I went to a workshop, just had a really chilled time, no pressure, and just found something I loved, and it
set you off down a path.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's just making that step, isn't it? One step, one tiny change, and things can.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be huge. It
No.
could just be someone you talk to in the street might lead to something else. So
There we go. Okay, so the first question is, what advice would you give your younger self? And that could be any version of your younger self. But it could even be that girl at drama, you know, at that audition.
Wow, I know. I'd give my younger self a lot of advice now. Don't listen to your parents, basically. But no, I think maybe not be such a people pleaser.
Yeah.
A big one for me. I always have been. I still am a little bit.
Right.
So that, and yeah, just if you've got a passion, you just got to follow it.
Yeah.
You have got to follow it, because there was nothing worse than, you know, living with what ifs and regret.
Yeah.
So yeah, that, I guess.
Okay. And the second question then, which is often a bit similar, but life advice or a mantra to throw out there into the world for everybody.
God.
So
That
if
is a
Ruth had a
tricky
t-shirt,
one.
if you had a t-shirt, what would it say?
Oh no. Oh, it's cheesy. It's so cheesy. But it would just be yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, I've moulded, like I said earlier, I have moulded myself throughout life. And I can see in my youngest now, who is quite an eccentric character.
Okay.
He has been, some people have tried to mould him when he's gone to school. And he's said to me, I can't wear this, or I don't think I should do that because that person won't like me. And I can see myself there.
Yeah.
And I did change to fit in, or try to fit in, and never actually did fit in the end. And thankfully, he's not like that. He's going to stick to his guns, and I can see that.
Well, he can see it. He's smart enough to be able to see it.
Yes.
That the world or whatever wants him. So he can kind of see that.
Yes.
But equally knows deep down it's not what he...
No, he's a much stronger character than me. He's age 9.
He's had completely different parenting, yeah.
Yes, that's true. That's true. He's got me saying to him, just
do what feels right.
Embrace you.
Okay, then the final question, then you can go and do the school run, is the new one, which is, what advice do you think your older self would give you?
Oh.
So if we, let's just say 65-year-old Ruth, what do you think she would tell you now?
I don't know. Don't worry about the cellulite. Or get off your phone.
Yeah, it never goes, yeah.
Yeah, get off your phone. You've wasted an hour doom scrolling. I mean, I think I'm already telling myself this, but I think she would say it as well, that time is precious. Mm. I think, you know, we live like we're going to live forever quite a lot of the time, but we're not. And another reason for people just to do it, just to get on with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that.
Time is precious. And do you think maybe because of your accident, you've almost sort of had that as a real kind of realisation lately that things can just change? And
yeah. It was like, it was like Groundhog Day. I was away for a girls' weekend, went in with a completely able body. An hour later, I was driving back into the same place, having been to A&E with a broken wrist.
Was it drunken?
No,
Damn
amazingly
it.
not. No. I wish it had been, because it might have numbed the pain, but no, there was no alcohol involved yet.
Aww. Let's change that story to have alcohol.
Yeah, I know. Not a cool story.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that, and, you know, losing people, you know, grief, things like that, you know, when you lose friends, which I sadly have done, at a young age, it really puts everything into perspective. It really, really does. And it shouldn't take something so dramatic. But, you know, the world seems to be imploding as we speak, you know, so it's even more reason to, you know, embrace life and...
make the most of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. With that note, thank you very much, Ruth.
Thank you.
If you would like to hear more about this chat, see some pics and read about how to get started in this industry and or this role, then please go to our website www.thiswomanswork.org. The link is on this podcast page and across our socials. Sincere thanks.